Welcome to KHM Today, your weekly resource for industry news and straight up fun. I am your host, Carolyn Orff, and you guys, it is a fabulous day in January. I think it's the 12th, right? I'm losing track of time. We have the most amazing show today. It's like a female powerhouse. We were supposed to have another guest on, and unfortunately, due to illness, we had to she'd reschedule her. But regardless, we have the most amazing women on here today. So it's going to be inspiring, motivational, and educational all at the same time. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Team Talk is a new segment that we started in 2022 where whichever team member is available comes on. Sometimes they've got another segment on the show, sometimes not, but they come on and we do a little bit of a chat about some headlines, what's going on in the industry. And so today, to help us with our Team Talk is our own Wanda Thomas. Wanda, welcome.
Hey guys.
We can't see you yet. There you are in your gorgeous background. Hi, thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
So, when we originally were talking about what we were going to talk about in this segment, we had a couple things which we are going to get to, but I wanted to start with something that I was wondering if you felt in the last, November, you were gone and traveling all over the place, and even in December, you were cruising and everything. As many of you guys know, I leave for Spain tomorrow, and the anxiety over making sure I have everything in place has been overwhelming. And I have read every website. I have looked at every supplier's information. It's like, oh my gosh. And I think that one of the things that is overwhelming to me is that every website, every embassy website starts with that same phrase on December 6th, 2021. US said you now have to do a negative COVID test to enter in. And I'm like, okay, that part I get. I don't need that information. What I need is what do I need to get into the country? And then the next thing starts with negative COVID test. And it's like line after line after line after the kind that's accepted. And then, like in tiny, tiny font, it says, or vaccination. And so I'm reading line after, and my heart is going, oh my gosh, where am I going to get this COVID test, COVID test, COVID test, and then, or vaccination card. Did you feel that same sort of anxiety every time you were traveling over the last 2 months?
I don't know why I am the person I am, but I kind of go with the flow. I mean, just to be honest, I've learned, I think what kind of helped to get me there, I'm gonna put it that way, was when I was going to Dubai this last time, my COVID test did not show up. So I could not get on my Emirates flight. I was freaking out because I was like, okay, I don't have it. And that was like when we first started this whole process with the COVID test. So I'm thinking to myself, the person at the airline, they're not going to know the difference between an antigen, PCR, blah, blah. So I had an antigen test as well. And so I got to the counter and she's like, I need to get your test, please. It's like, sure. Hand her the antigen test. She stops. She looks at that. She says, wait a minute. This is not a PCR test. And I looked at her and I said, yes, I agree. My PCR test has not come through from Passport Health. And I'm not too happy about that. But I don't have COVID. And so, long story short, I was calm. I didn't get upset, and she was very nice. And I said, well, thank you for your time. I guess I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do. And to kudos to her, she was such a professional. And she says, well, I don't know if you know or not, but we do have a place here in the airport. It was a JFK where you can go and get a test if you need it. And I said, okay. Luckily, I was there hours ahead of time, so I had time. But the biggest shock was the $365 charge to get it. So I think that I even did a video that day to say, be prepared for anything. So I even tell my clients that now. It's like, anything can happen. I don't care how much you prepare. I don't care how much you check it off, dot the I's, cross the T's. Anything can happen. And so right. I try to plan ahead of time, get everything together. And so I think I rush into the last minute. So half the time I don't get a chance to get too anxious. I try to get it together a week or so before, and I just stick it in my bag. And I'm like, Okay, it's there. And then when I get to the airport, if it's not there, then I freak out a little bit. But I just kind of go with the flow.
And I think I would be going with the flow and a little more calm, but you know this, I'm chaperoning two students that they're 13, they're not my children. I'm bringing them over to be part of a Spanish exchange program as something that I work on at my kids' former school. And so that is the piece, like, these aren't
Yeah.
even my children. Like,
Yes.
if
That's a
something
whole
goes
nother level.
wrong, like, so I mean, the number of like letters that I have from the
Yes.
school that were coming, from the parents that I can
Yes.
seek treatment, that the parents that I can fly with them. I feel like I've got a stack of paper this big that I'm
And I
traveling with.
understand that
So
that makes a big difference when others are depending on you. I agree with you
yeah,
100%. It gives
yes.
you definitely another level of anxiety. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah. So I will be coming to you guys live next week from Madrid. And so you'll hear about my adventures. And if I'm in my own house, then you'll know we never made it. So, but if I'm coming to you from Madrid next week, then you know. All right. So our next big headline, and I don't know if this is big, but I thought it was cool. But Southwest is getting on the bandwagon, and they have partnered with a company called City Health to do rapid return tests, which means you can buy them from them, and they're $50, and they will accept them to get back into the country internationally. So if you're down in Cancun, you can use this test to fly back to the States. This is fantastic. Have you used a service like that before to get back into the country?
I have actually I've used it to get out of the country. Now that you asked that question, because with the last cruise I did, one of the cruises they did allow you to do that home testing,
Mhm.
and luckily I had one of those boxes that was one of the approved vendors that allowed me to do that. But I know that when we were going back and forth with all these tests and things of that nature, I remember being excited that American Airlines and some of the other um, flights had the opportunity for you to order them. The only thing was the challenge was having to order them ahead of time by a certain time in order for them to meet you at your
Yes.
home. So,
Yep.
and then with the shortage we've had of late with all of these tests, it's just, it gets a little scary, but yeah, I love it. It was quick, easy. You do it right at home, and it's an easy process, very easy
Right. So
process.
even, and I think this is a huge bonus because we know a lot of the hotels down in Mexico are starting to drop the free COVID testing unless maybe you're in a certain room category. So, through my research, we're looking at $35 a person. These
Yep.
are more expensive, but just think, you don't have to go wait for someone to administer. You don't have to wonder if you're going to get those tests in your email. You can do it nice and quiet in your hotel room, and take 20 minutes of your day and really have that peace of mind up front. So I think it's a huge, huge bonus.
I agree. And I mean, even from the standpoint of talking to our clients about it, you think about at the resorts, you make an appointment, but let's face it, the appointment is not an appointment. The appointment is for you to get there to stand in line. I mean, that's basically what it is. So
Yes.
that's a great selling point for any of the airlines as far as, having that ability to do that, because it's like, save yourself some time, continue to enjoy your vacation, buy the thing before you leave so you can do it in your hotel room instead of going to
Mhm.
stand in line all day. So yeah.
Exactly. Yep. I love it. Okay. So Wanda, when you're on an airplane and you were traveling to Kenya this last, in November, what did you order for your food on the plane?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. That's a good question. I don't think I do anything special in my order. It's just whatever they're giving at the time. And I'm trying to remember, what do we have? I know one of the dishes was a very good chicken dish. I do remember that. It was pretty good with something that looked like I don't know what it was, but it was pushed to the side. But I can't remember what it was, but it was pretty good. The only thing that I know that I don't like on a plane are the eggs. When they deliver eggs on, I'm like looking at it going, what is that?
So there was a recent article in Travel and Leisure about not ordering pasta on an airplane. And they worked with a study group in Germany that basically said that they found that the combination of dryness and low pressure on planes reduces the sensitivity of human taste buds for both sweet and salty by 30%. And so basically, the airlines have said, look, we're not about taste, we're about food safety, right?
Yeah.
It's coming to us cooked. We need to reheat. What does that look like? So I just think this is hilarious, right? Reduces the sweet and salty by 30%. Because I can tell you right now, give me a bag of Smart Food white cheddar popcorn or Chex Mix on an airplane, and that's going down like I'll taste every bit of that saltiness and feel like, my limbs are swelling for 14 hours. So I don't know about that. I taste every grain of salt on an airplane. But basically, they said the worst thing to order on the plane is pasta because the reheating factor.
Yes.
It will end up being mush, which to me, pasta seems like the safest bet on an airplane.
Yeah, I'm with you too. I think we were talking about it earlier. I'd rather take my chances with the pasta being overcooked than my chicken being undercooked, as you made a comment about earlier. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I think pasta is more of a safer dish to go with, but it's just so hard on the plane because some of the stuff that comes to you, you just really don't know you're looking at it going, what is that? Can somebody tell
Yes.
me what is that?
Yes, yes. We actually, on our flight to Thailand, I had a flight attendant that gave my daughter ravioli, and she opened it up, and I was like, and I had ordered her gluten free, and I was like, Anna, I'm sorry, but I can't in a million years bet that an airline is going to pay that much money for gluten free ravioli. That's not gluten free. I'm telling you right now, do not eat it. So I went back to the flight attendant, and sure enough, they'd made a mistake. And I said, okay, you have no idea what that mistake would have cost you because she would have been sick the entire flight with that much ravioli in her system. So you have to be careful. But that's one pasta that I will eat on a plane because I don't feel it turns to mush. Anyways, so thank you for being here for our team talk. It was such a pleasure. And it's always fun dishing about travel with you.
Always fun with you as well.
All right. Take care. We'll see you next week.
All right. See you later. Bye.
All right, you guys. So for 2022, I feel like a buzzword is voice. We have to have a voice. We have to use our voice when we're talking with our clients because that is the best way we can convey empathy, sympathy, terms and conditions, concern, and excitement. And this next guest conveys her excitement for travel through her videos each and every time she produces one. So please welcome Jania Ashe for our New Year, New Marketing segment this month. Hello, Jania.
Hi, guys.
How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you? I'm so
Good.
excited.
Well, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
So sometimes I find guests by what they post on Facebook, which is kind of our theme today because Lori's here as well. But what I loved is you had posted something on Facebook about a class that you were releasing, a video that talked about adding video to your marketing strategy and why you would do this and the benefits of it. And so I took the class and it was very good. And I actually downloaded the app you recommended and kind of worked through it. I'm still a work in progress, but I did find it really, really helpful and not intimidating, which is like two big keywords for me. So why video? Why is this so important as we move forward?
Well, again, thank you for allowing me to be on here and share everything that you're going to be asking me. And just for everybody watching, just in case you want to, listen along and then see what all that we're talking about. My name is Jania Ashe on YouTube if you want to go over so you can be looking like, oh, this is what she's sharing. This is what she's talking about. Jania and then Ashe, Ashay. So, Lori, I'm calling you the next guest. I'm too excited to hear from her. But basically, video just allows you to be able to show your clients exactly what they're getting themselves into, okay? It's showing them, they're going to take your word for it. Like you said, we're the experts. We're going to give them and share with them everything. But showing that video, it allows them to see exactly what they're getting themselves into. It shows them exactly what the resort is or exactly what the excursion is or whatever it is. And it also allows you to look even more like an expertise because we know that travel sells travel. So if you have made your way all the way there, why not try to share this experience with all of your clients as well?
Well, and I think it's so important that it's that visual piece, right? I am so good at putting, like, when I'm in destination on Facebook and Instagram, and then I'm kind of like stuck.
Mhm.
Then it's done. But this is a way, when you put things on YouTube, it's a way to kind of keep that content not necessarily evergreen where it doesn't change, but more in their face and easier for you to say, hey, here's a video from that. I want you to take a look, instead of, let me see if I can find my pictures, where are they? You can kind of put all of that in one place.
Yes, because how easy is it for you to just shoot them over the link? Like I had someone earlier this week who they don't know anything about resorts, like which ones they wanted to stay at. So they asked me, they said, I'm thinking about Punta Cana. She didn't have a price or anything yet because this was her first time. So I wanted her to be able to understand what an all-inclusive was and the things that are included and things like that. So I just shot her over all of my, well, not all of them. I sent her about 4 or 5 different links to videos for her to look at, and then she was able to message back like, I like these 3, and then we will be able to have a better feel of what she's expecting and what she liked and what she didn't like, since she didn't experience it, since she hasn't experienced it yet.
So when you have these videos on YouTube and you're getting comments and questions and things like that, are you answering them? Are they referring you to your website to set up a phone call? Are you getting the right kind of clients from this?
Yes, and that is because I continue to share, and there's social media. Each social media has an algorithm, so you continuing to send this link, and YouTube seeing who you're sending over, they're like, okay, these are the same amount of people who are the same demographics. So then
Hmm.
they'll start pushing it out to people who maybe you haven't had an opportunity to reach. So it is a sales magnet. Like, it allows people to come in, maybe not as much as somewhere else would, but it's still beneficial because you're able to send those links and able to, I mean, that's just so easy for you to, it's like you're sending them to the resort but on the video. So I don't funnel them to become a client, and that's only because me specifically, I am trying to allow all travel agents to be able to use my content. So I try not to put on there, let me know if you want to come here or anything like that, because I want this to be open for any agents. Maybe there are some people who don't know how to do stuff like
Hmm.
this and they still want to be able to show. So hopefully they'll be able to still use my videos. So that's the only reason why I don't have so many people coming in. I don't say, at the end of my video, let me know if you want, you want to
Right.
come here or anything throughout the video, because that's a whole nother thing that you can do. Like, this was my favorite thing, I would love to send you here, stuff like that in your voiceover. But me specifically, I just refrain, just so all agents can use my videos. But if you do it, guys, then definitely add that in there, so then those people will continue to come and stuff.
Awesome. What is the most viewed video that you have out there?
The most viewed video right now is the Hyatt Zalara / Hyatt Ziva in Jamaica, so Rose Hall. And I know why it has done so well. It's really because that, so far, that's my favorite. I went there and you can hear through my voice, and that's going back to us talking about the voice. You can hear my passion, you can hear my excitement. First 3 seconds, I'm like, oh my gosh, guys, look at this resort. And I know that there are a lot of people who aren't comfortable putting their face and stuff like this, but this still allows you to give that voice. Your face is not important as much as your voice is, like we're saying, making that connection. So yes, the Hyatt Zalara, and that's on YouTube. But there's a whole nother video on TikTok, but on YouTube, that is what everybody loves. Everybody's commenting. People are like, I stayed in this room, I stayed in that room, I can't wait to go back. I think I'm gonna have my wedding here. All kinds of, like, that one. It has over 21,000 views, and I just uploaded that. I went there in June, and I think I uploaded it towards the end of the month.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, and I just going back to the idea of the voice, right? I just think it's so important. We like to see things visually, of course, but I think when we can describe it with that enthusiasm, and of course, travel right now, right? I mean, you listen to the news and it's like, well, this is coming again, and this is happening again, and so I think when you can speak to someone about your passion and places to go, there's that good balance between let's be excited for this trip. And I also want to share with you some of the concerns with travel right now. But it's not like you have to say, and you have to take a negative COVID test to get into the country. Like, you don't have to, like, you know, make it sound like a Disney flick. But there's that voice that says, I want you to be safe. There's that tone.
Yes.
And that tone, it's hard to come across that way in an email or a text where your concern is there, but you're trying not to be a Debbie Downer.
Yes, exactly.
So what do you have plans for growing your YouTube channel more? Do you see this being as eventually an avenue to gain more clientele?
Yes, and it has already become another source of income. I here recently became monetized on YouTube, and that's where like you get paid for your videos and things like that. And like you were saying, it's not necessarily evergreen content, but you just never know. Like maybe I post a video today and it's to go to one of the royalties in Jamaica, and maybe it's not too many views. I'm sending it to my clients. That's fine. Well, maybe later this year, Beyonce goes there or something, or somebody goes. And so basically it's almost trending. So then people are searching and people are looking, and then that way people are giving you the views. So obviously that's kind of behind. Like, I wasn't trying to become monetized. I was hoping that it was going to come eventually, but that's another thing that can happen for you, And so my plan is to allow it to continue to grow. This is a passion of mine. Like, I enjoy, at the end of the day, I get done sitting on my quotes. I sit down. That's a relaxing thing to me, to go through and edit those videos. And again, we didn't share that I make my videos on the class that she's talking about. It's free on YouTube, my channel that you can take. I do all of this straight from my phone. I do not do any of this on the computer or anything like that.
We talked about this the other day. I think it's hilarious that you just said that this relaxes you, because that is a stressor to me. Anyone that has received a text from me ever will know that that is a challenge. And because I don't know, I feel like I read through things and then I go back and it's like gibberish. And so the fact that you say that you can sit on your phone and do all this, like, I have to be so intentional. And I had pages of notes from your class, and I went through each one and I was like, okay, now she says to touch this. And now she says
that's why I have it up, so you can do it and you can watch and you can do it over and over again and look like that. So I'm just really excited to see how it blossoms. I enjoy it. I'm doing this when I'm on fam trips, when I'm on vacation. So just to continue to expose our clients to these resorts, and our agents to how they can do this same thing, and then the resorts that I can do this for them. So it's just a win-win-win-win. So I'm excited. That's what my plan is, to just see where it goes.
I love it. One more question before I let you go. Do you find yourself sometimes when you're at these properties, we've talked about this, like when you're doing a fam, that you're so busy taking pictures and video that you forget to almost like really feel the resort and see the resort? It's kind of like if you're watching your child's performance and you're watching it through the camera instead of like actually being in the moment. Do you find that at all, or do you feel like that's not as important as kind of creating that visual piece?
I just try to find balance. So of course I'm not recording 24/7. I'm not recording the entire time. So I just always make sure I have my phone. If it's something that I want to go ahead, because my videos, like the videos that I use to compile together, they're only like 5 seconds long. Or maybe the longest, maybe it's 20 seconds if I'm walking through somewhere and showing it off. And I get that out of the way because I'm in business, and then I can relax. So it's always business and then relax. Sometimes I should suggest that people, like, I know that maybe people want a day that they leave their phone in their room or something, but I promise you, that's going to be the day that something spectacular happens on the resort. And you're like, wow, I wish I could have shown this to my clients. So it's really that is very important to doing this, is finding balance, because you're also going to run into, you don't want to be the one walking around on the resort the whole time like this. And then people are like, who is this girl? You know? So just knowing that I need to do it because I want to be able to share this with my clients, but I'm just going to get it out of the way, put it down, put it in my phone, and then enjoy. Because if I'm only recording, then how am I gonna be able to explain? So when I'm doing vacations, that's amazing because I'm actually experiencing the resort. So then I have to remind myself to record. So I'm experiencing it and I have things to talk about, remind myself to record, versus on fam trips, it's the opposite. We're only there for a couple of seconds, so I'm recording and then I have to remind myself to put it away so I can have some type of something to explain to them, because they're still going to ask. Unfortunately, you post a video, they're going to be like, how was the food? And it's like, I didn't really stay here. So you're just answering questions that you can, but it's all about finding balance. You have to record, but you're also human, and travel sales job, you want to be enjoying yourself, so you deserved it for one, but also so you can tell the clients about it. So just finding that balance.
I love it. Well, you guys, if you haven't watched her video, it is on YouTube, Jania Ashe on YouTube. I will tell you, I watched it right before my husband and I went on the inaugural for Odyssey of the Seas. So actually in some of my video, my husband was sort of helping me, and I'm like, Jania says to do it this way, so
I love it.
Very slowly I learned that. So watch the video, you guys. It really is good. And if you're technically challenged, like I sometimes am when it comes to this stuff, truly the app and kind of the process that she goes through is a little bit more manageable than you would think it would be. So thank you for spending time with us today. I really, really appreciate it.
Yes, you're welcome. And if you guys don't remember how to spell my name or anything, just type in Haya Zalarzi, because thank you, Jesus. It's like the #1 video watched right now. So you'll know which one I am. So thank you. I'm going to stay around and listen to Lori now.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Jania.
Bye.
All right, you guys. Our next guest is a Canadian agent who now lives in the Riviera Maya. She started the Facebook group, popular, and many of us are members of it, Resorts of the Riviera Maya, which now has over 11,000 members. Please welcome Lori Gold. Lori, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're so glad that you're here. You're kind of like a celebrity to all of us.
Just a regular travel agent.
Well, you're a regular travel agent that lives in what many of us deem paradise. Just briefly, how did you end up down there?
Well, like most travel agents, I was always coming here for work events and fans and award trips, things like that. And most people don't want to leave, but I really didn't want to leave. And I would get super sad every time. And there came a point where I'm like, I have nothing really keeping me, besides family and friends, but besides that, nothing keeping me at home in Toronto. And I literally just decided to do it. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know Spanish. I just did it.
Good for you. Good for you. So you're still booking travel, but you run this Facebook group. Why did you feel this was something that was missing in our industry?
So I didn't really. Now I think it was, or it is, but the reason that it started was because in June 2020, when the resorts had just started reopening and welcoming more guests, I was really the only one here, one of the only ones here in terms of travel agents. And I was doing site inspections, and at that point, everything had changed at resorts. Like all the little COVID protocols and things like that are a little bit more relaxed now, they were all brand new. And I was at that point taking pictures and taking tons of notes and going to 5 different Facebook groups or more that I was in, and just spamming all of them with my updates and my information. And I'm like, okay, this is starting to be annoying, probably, especially for people who are in all these groups. So I'm just going to start my own, and if anyone's interested, they can come over to it. So it really started, around the COVID protocols, but now, a year and a half or almost 2 years later, it's turned into something completely different.
So I love the group because I like searching for reviews and feedback on different properties. What other things do you see mostly posted about on there?
Oh my gosh, there's there's everything. And people really only see what I allow to get posted. I also decline a lot of things because the same things are asked over and over again, and that's sort of what makes, or what I think makes, my group more unique than some others that I'm in. Not even travel related, but just other groups where people ask the same questions over and over again. So there of course are tons of review questions, tons of COVID protocol questions, especially now with everything changing. People are all over the place, but really, like, there's just so much of everything. And I also try and ask people like industry questions, not just related to the Riviera Maya, but in relation to like suppliers, or what's important to them, or what's their favorite this or their that, or that, just to sort of bring a sense of community.
Do you feel like you have kind of this different perspective now living down there, and we kind of get this general list of wonderful things to do, but you almost have this like second list because you're immersed in the environment?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there are so many things to do here. It's absolutely insane. And I'm trying to do every single thing. And it's a lot. And I'm probably not even halfway done, my list. I mean, cenotes alone, there's thousands. So I'll never finish all of them. But even the more touristy things and the less touristy things, there's so many things to do here. So I'm really trying to do everything and showcase everything. And also the lesser known things, because they're just as good, if not better, than the ones that you see the big signs for on the side of the highway.
Some of the things that I bet are a challenge with this group is when we see things, I don't want to say sensationalized in the media, because some things are what they are. How are you how do you get your information? We kind of have certain sources here that, sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not so true. What are your sources in order, that you're using in order to get things about safety and changes, like I think you posted the other day that the health form could be
Hmm.
going away? What resources are you using to get that information?
Honestly, like all different ones. For one, I follow the governor of the state on Facebook, so he posts a lot of updates. I'm in tons of expat groups, so that is like a real source of information that's happening like as we speak. And then just living here, actually the health forum, a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, Canadian agent, messaged me and said that her clients were going through the airport and were told it's no longer necessary. So then that sparked me to do a bunch of research and reach out to different people that I know who might know. And that's sort of how I came to that conclusion. But a lot of it is just like being on the ground and living it. Like when people are worried about safety and things like that, like I'm here, so I know what it's actually like versus what they're saying. So it
I
really
think
comes from all different places.
that post was so interesting because, one of the lines in it was scientific significance, right? We're filling out all this paperwork, but no one's actually doing anything with it. And
Yeah.
I felt that way when I visited Jamaica in 2020, the summer of 2020, and you just saw stacks and stacks of paper, and I thought, I wonder what they're doing with all that.
Exactly.
Like, is anyone
Well,
actually going back to any of that? And I really feel the answer was no.
right. And for better or for worse, Mexico is one of only two places on planet Earth that has zero COVID entry requirements. Before, there was nothing except for the health questionnaire. Now there's nothing. The only other country I know of is El Salvador. Even Dominican, there's really not anything, but they have a little e-ticket where you have to fill out some things. So, that's something related to COVID. Mexico is like, nope, we're good. You do
Are
you,
you
and that's it.
Yeah. Are you seeing, one of the challenges I've seen is clients come down to any of these Caribbean resorts, right? Mexico, Caribbean, Dominican, all of them. The number of people being allowed on property now is a higher percentage than it was a year ago, yet the staff has yet to, kind of balance that out. Are you seeing that as well in your experience when you're visiting these properties, which of course then lends itself to that feedback of, oh gosh, we had to wait for everything, and the service just wasn't the way it usually is. Has that been your experience as you've stayed on properties and visited them?
Not particularly. Actually, we're now back to 60%, so we went a little bit backwards here, like everywhere in the world is going a little bit backwards in terms of the number of cases. So we have to accommodate for that. So it's not 100% anymore, but resorts already have all these people booked, so they're not kicking anybody out. I think they're just not taking any more new reservations on top of whatever they have for each time period. But I personally have not experienced that, but I'm sure it's happening because when COVID first hit, a lot of the staff from, in Mexico, in this area, especially, most people are not from here. Most people are not born in Cancun, born in the Riviera Maya. They're from somewhere else, Mexico City, the middle of Mexico, something like that. And when this all happened, a lot of them just moved back to their families, and not many people have actually come back from that. They got new jobs, they started a new life, whatever it was. So that, takes time to correct, and I'm sure it is happening, but I personally haven't experienced it.
That's good to hear. What are some of the challenges that you found with this Facebook group?
Well, I'm the only admin, and there's 11,000 people. And, I've had many people offer to admin with me, but I have my reasons why I want it to be just me. So it's a lot of work. I mean, this morning, every time I refreshed it, like every 5 minutes, there was like 5 new posts waiting to be approved. And I was like, oh my, like it was probably like 30 posts, in an hour this morning, which is not normal. Like that was crazy. But one of the big things is going through the agents that are trying to join, because I'm pretty strict on the types of agents and the types of host agencies, like no MLM and things like that are allowed in. So going through all the agents and making sure that they're legit and making sure they're actually agents, because it doesn't say until you are in the process of joining that it's for agents. I mean, the title of the group doesn't say that. So all kinds of people try and join it. And I think my biggest challenge is that Facebook doesn't allow everybody to see everything, right? There's the algorithm, and only, if you engage with the group, then you'll see more, but you still won't see everything. And there are so many things that I need everybody to know. And there's no way for me to share all that information with everybody. And it would save all the agents, like 11,000 agents, it would save them so much more time and stress, and it would just be so much easier if they could all get this information, because I see the questions being posted and I'm like, I posted about that, but they don't see it. Right. And it's like, oh, I spend so much time, admitting and making my own posts and collecting information and providing information, and then people just don't see it. And it's not necessarily their fault. I mean, if they search, they would probably find it. So that's another frustration is that people don't search.
It's the most underused feature on Facebook.
Pardon?
Searching is the most underused feature on Facebook, and I love it. That's my very first thing.
If I can do a search and find it in a second, then so can you, right? Like the difference is I know what's been posted, and that's why I don't want any other admins, because I need to be on top of what's already been posted. Otherwise, the same, like what I don't want to happen will happen. People just post the same things, because if another admin is approving posts and I'm approving posts, we won't know what each other have already approved. So, it's frustrating because like I said, if I can search for it and it's there, so can you. But I think people don't realize that when you search, you have to put things in quotes, and that makes a world of difference, because if not, you'll just find too many irrelevant things that come up. And if you put things in quotations, it really narrows down what you're trying to find.
Perfect. Tip of the day, guys. Tip of the day. So Let me ask you this. You've got this group. It's grown to 11,000 people. Has this created avenues for you with your business, or kind of different things that you never thought you'd take on before?
For sure. Like I told you how I started it, it was never intended to be anything more than that. But as it grew, and it's still growing by around 100 people a week, it's a full-time job. It really is. And so I've decided this month to sort of take a step back from selling, and that's partially because of my group, but partially because in Canada, I'm having more cancellations than bookings, and I just can't take it anymore, to be honest. But I did see a need for certain things, and one of those things is master classes. So a lot of people came to the group and started selling the Riviera Maya out of need, because it was like the one place that's totally open. Anybody can come, no vaccine, no testing, like, you know, everybody's welcome. So people at the beginning, especially of COVID, that were selling cruises or Europe or places that their clients couldn't go, they're like, okay, we need to learn the Riviera Maya because that's the only place our clients can go right now. And so a lot of people were coming in that had no idea about this destination. And it's a massive destination. There's over 150 all-inclusive hotels, and that doesn't count like all the other regular hotels. That doesn't include the 80 hotels in Tulum. So there's just 80 plus hotels in Tulum, I should say. There's so much to know. And I'm realizing that there's really nowhere to go and get that information. So I created master classes. I have one on the whole destination. I have one just on Tulum because it's a whole destination in itself. And I have one on excursions and tours. And then next week, or the 18th, I think that's a week, right? Yeah. The 18th and 19th, I am doing an Eshkarat one on the hotels and the parks with my friend Cheryl Bailey. So it's a 2-part one. So, and there's so many more to come. And so it's turned, you know, it's given me another opportunity, another job opportunity. But for me, it's not so much about the money. It's really to help agents, because I'm equipping them with so much information that they can't really find anywhere else, and putting it in like an easily consumable, you know, way to find it.
Yes, yes, bullet points. I'm a big fan of bullet points. Just tell me what I need to know.
Yeah.
So I've noticed there's been a couple times where agents have said, Lori, help, my clients are in destination and they're struggling. Are you offering kind of that concierge service as well? Or is this a one-off and you're just kind of messaging them privately saying, you know, yes,
Yeah,
I
that's
can
a good
help, or
question.
no, I can't help?
I actually had someone contact me today saying that her client's tested positive and she's looking for an Airbnb. Can I help? And I'm like, that's not what I do.
Yep.
You know, I'm a travel agent just like you. And unfortunately, this happens daily that people private message me, and I always refer them back to the group. This is not really on topic of what you're saying, but there's 11,000 agents and just one of me. And I still, whether I'm booking travel actively or not, I still have like tons of trips on the go, on the books that I need to manage. And, I don't have time to help every single person individually. So generally, no, I do, or I have sort of started, I haven't really announced it yet, but an agent did post about it, consulting, but I don't really know. I mean, I guess it could be for emergency situations, but I will be offering consulting. And I also have a company called VI Paraiso, and it's a gifting and delivery service. And for better or for worse, we are doing a lot of quarantine packages right now. So that can help agents in that way if their clients, are at a hotel, a resort. Of course, they have room service and things like that. But we're doing like puzzles and games and extra COVID tests and Vicks Vapor Rub, like all that kind of stuff. We can deliver it to them on behalf of the agent, or even if the client just wants or needs something, we can bring that to them.
I love it. And, it's making something positive out of something that maybe has been not so great the last couple of years, and looking at opportunity. And, I've always been a huge fan of evolve your business. And where I started 14 years ago is not where I am now. If you had told me 14 years ago when I started on my kitchen table that I'd be hosting a weekly web-based talk show, like that just wouldn't be something that would have ever crossed my mind. But my business has evolved, my career has evolved, and so this is where we find ourselves. And I find it inspiring. I think it's great that you've put yourself out there to do this. I can imagine it's overwhelming because a 3-day fam for me is like, oh my gosh, this information overload. So for you, it's like that constant, because tourism is so great in the area that you live, that I can imagine it's hard to turn off your brain.
It's impossible
when you go anywhere. Oh, this is a great restaurant, let me take notes, when you're just trying to have dinner on a Friday night.
It's impossible, but like you, I mean, I've been a travel advisor for almost 15 years and it's been my only job. And I never imagined doing anything else. Like I never imagined that my group could turn into a career of any sort. I mean, it was never the intention, but I am really passionate about this destination and I'm passionate about helping agents. So it just makes sense to sort of continue on that and see what happens.
Right. I love it. Lori, thank you for taking the time today. It's been so wonderful to have you on. Perhaps we'll get to meet when I'm there in March, but we really appreciate it. Agents that are live with us, that will listen to us later on or via YouTube or on our podcast, if you're not in part of Resorts of the Riviera Maya and you're interested in joining, don't do it all at one time so she doesn't have so many people to, to admit, but it's a great group. It's got incredible information and a lot of great insights. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, you guys. Thanks, Lori. Oh my goodness, so many great things today. All right, one last thing, Ask KHM Today. As you guys know, last week, this is another new segment that we're doing that we are going to release soon, how you guys can send in more questions. But this question came to us and I wanted to address it. And hopefully you guys aren't seeing that on my screen and that I don't end up closing out of something. But here's our question. Wait, where did it go? Okay. I have a client that arrived in Cancun on December 23rd. On the 24th, they had scheduled a trip to explore, one of my favorite excursions. They needed to cancel that morning because their kiddo was sick. They couldn't reschedule because the park was closed on the 25th and the 26th. They departed on the 27th. They are now looking for a refund, even though there was a 24-hour cancel period. I'm working with the tour operators to see what we can do, but can the client come back and do a chargeback? Will I be responsible? So thanks for this question. This is a good one. So right now, documentation is going to be key here. If they sought medical attention at the resort and they've got a doctor's note or that bill from the doctor, that will help in perhaps seeking, a refund from the tour operator, maybe a partial refund. It's really up to them. But at the end of the day, the documentation you have from the client is going to be key. So, an authorization stating that they approved the charge, that they saw the terms and conditions of the booking is going to be key in this situation. So really it's about having that delicate conversation with your client and saying, I know that you're disappointed. I'm sorry that the parks were closed the rest of your stay, but the terms and conditions were clear. This wasn't a fraudulent situation. I didn't charge your card negligently or without your approval. So doing a chargeback really isn't the best idea. And also, you guys, it's really important, I think, right now in this day and age, and as we still continue through this pandemic, to make sure that your clients understand that when they do a chargeback, the company is going to come back to you, the agent, and seek financial retribution. So, letting them know, I think sometimes they believe that they're just going to the credit card company and the credit company's going to eat that expense. But no, it can come back to you, the agent, and without the proper documentation, you could be responsible. So, that's basically have a great conversation with your client. Use your voice. I wouldn't suggest doing it over email because you can't convey empathy as well and concern. But that's kind of the long and the short, that yes, they can, but hopefully you can convey to them that, well, whereby you understand that they were disappointed, there was a cancellation policy and they agreed to it. So there's your Ask KHM for today. You guys, it's been a great show. We thank all of our guests, Jania, Wanda, Lori. Oh my gosh, such talent, such knowledge. We can't thank them enough. Next week, you guys, we will be coming to you from Madrid. God willing, the internet is doing great. We have some special guests. So Soleil from Norwegian Cruise Line will be here to speak on the brand new ship that was just opened for booking today. So thank you to ALG, our show sponsor, and of course, all of our segment sponsors. You guys are amazing and we appreciate it. You guys have a great rest of your week. Yeah, that's it. Have a great day.